Okay, so you're going to go to a local community college. You are at a local community college. Part-time basis, which means you have to take fewer than 12 credits. All right, I've underlined that bit there. The tuition is $100 for each credit. Okay, limited budget. You need to calculate total cost based on the number of credit hours. Now, okay, so when we're deciding to create the input variable and what the output variable is, you've got to decide, okay, what's the important thing here? Okay, the important thing here is the number of credit hours you take. The tuition just depends on the number of credit hours you take. Okay, so if you take 1 credit hour, it's $100. 2 credit hours, $200. Okay, so the amount depends on the number of credit hours. So credit hours, x-axis. Okay, the tuition fee, the y-axis. Remember, the input variable we write on the x-axis. Okay, so input variable. Okay, we've said that it's going to be the number of credit hours. The output variable is the tuition. Okay, choose a letter or symbol to represent the input. I mean, if you want to stick to X and Y, you can do. You can call credit hours the letter C if you want to. You can call tuition the letter T. But, you know, that's up to you, what you want to kind of choose for labels, all right? Now then, would a replacement value of 0 be reasonable for the input? Okay, now, these questions are a little bit funny because 0 means no credit hours, which means you're not going to college. So if you are going to college, then zeros won't be allowed because you're not going to college and do nothing, all right? Replacement of 15 would be reasonable for the input. Well, again, if you're not going to take more than 11 or 12 credit hours, then 15 is out as well. But at least it makes sense. Somebody might be taking 15 credit hours, but they might be a full-time student. So again, you can always kind of just, there's no real true or false answer for this. It's just explaining what you think. I mean, you're not going to be taking 200 credit hours. 200 will not be part of the input. You're not going to get 200 on the x-axis. So reasonable replacement values, I think really we're talking about 1 to 11. You can take 1 credit hour if you want to. You can take 11 because, remember, we're taking fewer than 12 in the question. And actually, that's why they've got this down here. Look at this table. Number of credit hours from 1 to 11, and then the cost, okay, which I'm going to fill in here. There is a question here, how much it costs you for 3 credit hours. Well, think about it. 1 credit hour is $100, so 3 credit hours must be $300. Okay, and if I filled more of these in, 2 credit hours is $200. 1 credit hour is $100. Again, $100 for a credit hour. And up here, 9 credit hours will cost you $900. 10 credit hours will cost you $1,000. Okay, so and so on and so on. You don't have to fill in every single one of these. So a verbal rule that describes this part here, a verbal rule that describes basically what's happening, how to calculate the total tuition bill, is it's $100 per credit hour. Okay, that's basically it. Now I'm going to write a little equation in here, see if you can kind of understand what I'm writing. And it's this. So y, the output, which is the tuition, is 100 times x. Okay, I'll put a little dot there. 100 x. Okay, if x is going to be our input, okay, which is the number of credit hours. Okay, can you see if I put 1 there, then y is going to be 1 times 100. It's 100. If I put 2 there, when x is 2, again, all of this, x's and the y's. All right. So if I put 2 there, I get 2 times 100, which is 200. So can you see that I'm putting in values for x. The important thing is the number of credit hours. Y, which is the answer, the tuition, just depends on that x. Depends on that credit hours, the number of credit hours. Little things at the bottom here. The change in tuition from 2 to 3 credit hours, can you see, is $100. But then anywhere you go, if you change by 1 credit hour, look over here, is going to be $100. It's always going to be the same. Okay, it changes by $100 for every credit hour. So the change is going to be the same every time you increase by 1 credit hour. Now, suppose we had to graph all these numbers. Okay, here we go. I've done a little piece of graph paper. So, what was it for 1 credit hour down here? It was $100. For 2 credit hours, it was $200. For 3 credit hours, it was $300. I'll keep on going. So there's $300, there's $400 for 4, $500, $600 for 6, $700 for 7, $800 for 8, $900, 1000, and finally for 11 credit hours, okay, which is down here, okay, just after 10, that's 11, it's going to cost you 1,100, okay, $100 for a credit hour. Now can you see, look, I'm going to draw this on now, this will give me a nice straight line all the way up to there, okay, but it's increasing by the same amount each time, $100. Now supposing I say to you, right, we are going to give you 2 free credit hours over that 11, alright? So in other words, you've paid $1,100 for the 11 credit hours, again $100 for every 1 credit hour, but we'll give you the next 2 for free. It still won't cost you any more than $1,100, but you can do another couple of credit hours. So there we go, here's, well, let's go back to a pen, sorry, click, get rid of that, write a pen. So in other words, if I say I'm going to do 12 credit hours, which is down here, okay, down here, that's going to be 12. It's still going to be $1,100. Great, they're not charging me anymore. If I do 13 credit hours, an extra couple of credit hours, that's still, so there's 13 down here, still going to be $1,100. I'm getting a couple of credit hours free. Now can you see if I draw a straight line here, right, that is a nice flat line. In other words, there's no change. This slope here, this increasing line, shows me that things are increasing, all right? As the more credits I do, the cost goes up. All right. Here, from here to here, is a constant. All right, it's constant. There's no change. So from 11 to 13 credit hours, I'm not being charged any more. It's a constant. Okay, that's why it's a flat line. Just be aware of little things like that, especially when you're having to describe what's going on with a graph. Okay, so that is a visual representation of. Let's go back. This chart here, all the information, okay, again going back to the original question and me filling in the table and drawing that graph from the numbers, okay.